Joe Lacob and general manager Mike Dunleavy on Monday. With his contract now officially up following this season, Kerr's future with the team remains unclear, but he, Lacob, and Dunleavy are expected to continue discussions into next week. And through it all, Draymond Green had eye-raising comments regarding his head coach on his podcast. Listen to Draymond.
As much as he's done for me in basketball, a part of me think he's hindered me in my career and what I could have become. But what he's also helped me become. Like, you got to take the good with the bad, man. You know, when I think of who I was offensively as a player and who I became, I think a part of that is due to him. I don't hold that against him. I'm forever grateful that he still put me in a position to be successful and that I could become Draymond Green despite my offensive role on our team.
Okay, his head coach, Steve Kerr, might have hindered him. Are these comments fair or foul, Stephen A?
They're foul. They're foul. But not in the true negative sense of the word. He was very respectful to the great Steve Kerr, who's one of the great coaches we've ever seen, Kenny. And Draymond Green is a future Hall of Famer and a former Defensive Player of the Year, an elite defender for the vast majority of his career, who also was a magnificent point forward. And 85% of his assists obviously have come in, courtesy of the shooting of Steph Curry, the greatest shooter God ever created. So we understand that. But we also need to understand that Steph Curry would have had a far more difficult time being Steph Curry if it were not for Draymond Green. So I'm not throwing any negativity or shade in his way in that regard. Here's why I say it's foul. Respectfully to Draymond Green, you are not accepting responsibility for what you didn't do. Now, Kenny, it's rare that I would tell anybody that I'll say it's rare in the day that I'm going to think somebody knows more basketball than me. I will happily defer on national television to my big bro. Everybody know you know more basketball than me, damn it. I know I don't know as much as you, okay? But damn it, I've been covering the game for a long time. And I think one of the most magnificent moments we'd seen was when Draymond Green got suspended for that Game 5, came back that Game 6 and 7 that Cleveland won the title after trailing 3-1. And Draymond had that explosion in Game 7 where he hit all them damn threes and he was balling. The fact of the matter is he's never shot that way again in his career. And repeatedly throughout the years, there has never been any evidence that he worked on to improve his jump shot. Now, regardless of what was transpiring schematically with Steve Kerr, we cannot count the number of times that defenses have sat back and dared Draymond Green to shoot open jump shots, and he did not convert. That is not the coach. That is you. And that's my only disagreement with him. I understand that schematically, if Steve Kerr could have, and maybe had he focused a little bit more on Draymond Green and opportunities, Draymond Green might have been a little bit better. But I am not about to sit here and blame a coach for you as a player having one opportunity after another, spanning years to improve jump shots, your jump shooting ability, and it never happened. That is my issue. I'm not challenging. Draymond is a brilliant basketball player. He's smart as hell. And I'm not challenging what he's saying about Steve Kerr in terms of schematics or anything like that. I'm saying the eye test showed us that on many, many occasions, regardless of what he said, he had ample opportunity to have better numbers offensively if he simply could make open shots from the perimeter. And he didn't do it repeatedly. That's not the coach. That's you.
Well, there's two things. Dre's wilding. He's wilding right now. He is wilding right now because there's only two things where I'm from. There's only one question that I used to ask. The first question I got asked when I came into the house after a game was, "Did you win?" And when we ask him that question, he's gonna say yes. And that's the biggest question. That's what makes you a Hall of Famer. Right. That's what makes you the great an opportunity to have all of the success that you're having. Is that you won. And what you did was so valuable in the winning of the episode. So there's nothing that you could have done and that would have enhanced that. There's nothing that you could have done that enhanced that. Nothing Steve Kerr could have done to dim that light. Because I do remember, being a historian of watching guys grow. I do remember when Draymond Green made the Olympic team. And he went up to Colangelo in the tryouts. And he said, "Hey, I don't know if I'll make this team." And Colangelo said, "Why?" He said, "Because guys like me typically don't make Olympic teams." And that wasn't the case because he understood who he was. He's, at Michigan State, I think he averaged maybe like 16 at his senior year, 15, 16. Yeah. He is an all-around player. He is not a specialist. Right. So he doesn't have to be hindered. You are all-around player. You shouldn't have been hindered. He put you in your best light. He let you be an all-around player. Most people, he and Mark Jackson, we'll give Mark Jackson credit as well, would not allow your power forward to bring up the basketball and say, you run the point from the forward position. Very few players have ever done that in the history of basketball. Yes, he didn't hinder you. He actually enhanced, and he got the question answered when you walked in your house every day. Did you win? Yes, you did.
And I don't.
Stephen A., why say this? Like, why? What benefit is there in saying your coach who you won 4 championships with hindered you? Why? Right. Why say this?
Well, because Shay, that's how he feels. And what we can't do is, let's stay with me. We can't ask for people to be honest and candid, and then when they do it, we knock them for giving their honest and candid thoughts. To me, if we have the license to sit here and do a sports show every day talking about players and coaches, then players and coaches have the right to speak up for themselves. And so I don't have a problem with him speaking his truth. I'm just saying, with Kenny, it's false. He was enhanced, number one. And number two, what he was deficient at is his responsibility. Steve Kerr puts the ball in his hands, and sure, it's to be a facilitator for others. But Kenny, tell me if I'm lying. In the process of creating opportunities for Steph Curry, for Klay Thompson for so many years, even when Kevin Durant was there and stuff like that, Draymond Green had ample opportunities to shoot the basketball enough to show that he could be a threat if he made those shots. He didn't. He didn't to the point, and that's what happened. I'm not saying, listen, he made layups, he made cuts to the basket, he moved without the basketball, he set up other guys. He did practically everything else right. So he's a wonderful player. But when it came to shooting the basketball, Kenny, I'm here to tell you right now, let's fantasize. I'll ask you this, Kenny, because I said it on national TV on many occasions. Nobody better to answer it than Kenny the Jet Smith. If Draymond Green was a formidable threat from the perimeter, are we talking 4 rings for Golden State?
No, we're talking 6.
At least 1 or 2 more. We talking 6.
No, we're talking 6.
That's my number.
We're talking 6.
That's my number.
Because
he did that. That's
because
right.
The
6,
one thing
Jay.
that what happened.
6.
The one thing that happened with Draymond is, and he has to understand this, and he knows this. Draymond is a he redefined the game kind of like Dennis Rodman redefined rebounding. So if you have Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry, there's not a 4th guy ever. I don't even know if there's another 4th guy in the league that would have got touches. I don't even know who would have come in there and been like, we're going to take the ball out of these three guys' hands to give it to you. So he was also embedded in that. But in their championship runs, Andrew Bogut at times was a low post threat.
Yeah.
You know, he just is
Jaja Pajulia.
offensive. Right. Andre Iguodala.
Harrison Barnes.
He has been a really good offensive threat. But I don't know if any time in his life, and I could be wrong, but I just watched him in college and I watched him in the NBA, where he was the formidable offensive threat.
Right.
So if he's talking about he held them back offensively, then he's wrong. But maybe he's talking about he held them back some other way. I don't know what it is, but he didn't say offense. But yeah, that's not the truth.
He's not living in reality, Shay, when he says that. Because again, despite the fact that schematically things may not have evolved around him, by virtue of the personnel he had as a supporting cast or cast he supported, he had open opportunities. You literally had people daring him to shoot. He missed them. That's the problem. That's not the coach. That's him. He never worked on, I ain't gonna say he never worked because he probably put in the work. It never worked. He was shooting a lot of line drive jump shots. No arc to his jump shot or anything like that. It happened. That was the one weakness in his game. And had he improved it, the Warriors would have 2 more titles in my estimation. I completely agree with Kenny. They'd have had 6 titles.
I just don't understand the timing of this. Like, Steve Kerr's trying to figure out what his future is. We don't even know what his future is, Draymond, with Steph there in the Bay Area.
Let Steve Kerr go, by the way. Let him go. If you got to figure out whether you want to coach or not, go.